Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Identity Podcast. That's right, the Identity Podcast presented to you by Find Your ID NYC. I'm Caleb, one of your co-hosts, along with my fellow and lovely co-host, Tarik. He is extra lovely today, isn't that right?
That's right. Extra lovely, and in this small screen, guys. Now I'm gonna make it think very quickly. It's like Titan love.
Give him a second. Well, Tarik, it's great to have you here as always. We're just so grateful to be here. Of course, you've been listening and watching the Identity Podcast presented to you by Find Your ID NYC. Don't forget to go and follow us on all social media platforms at the Identity Podcast and check us out on all streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts for the Identity Podcast. Our show is live every single Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time via YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, all at the Identity Podcast. Of course, you can listen to us on Brick Media every Tuesday as we're featured on there. Pretty cool stuff there. And if you love the Identity Podcast, well, guess what? You can sponsor us. All you have to do is email us at press@findyouridnyc.com, and we'll get back to you with more details. But one of the exciting things when it comes to the show right now is the fact that as we grow, we get to do more things, right? And one of the cool things about the Identity Podcast is that we now have a Patreon page. That's pretty cool. And a Discord page. So later on, we'll share those links, put them in the chat, and we'll also share them right here on the screen. And of course, you can always check out those. If you're listening via the audio-based podcast, all you have to do is go to our social media platforms, our link tree, whatever it may be, in our bio via the link tree. You can find the Patreon and our Discord page, and you can find those links and you can join and subscribe. That's how cool everything is nowadays. And of course, check out the Identity Podcast link tree while I'm talking about it, because it contains all the links that you need for the show's essentials. That's how cool technology is. Well, of course, it is the Identity Podcast, and we have a very exciting show here for you for Wednesday, June 9th, episode 44, none other than Artistic Exploration featuring Raytheon Dunn. And I tell you, this guy's awesome. Welcome, Raytheon. How are you today?
What up?
I am good. Howdy. Hello, folks.
How you doing today, man?
Good. I woke up, took my daughter to the bus stop, watched my wife go away to work because today's my day off. Since I teach, it's asynchronous Wednesdays, so we're not in the building. And then I went and went to a meeting to go check out some prints that I'm looking to make. I heard back from some possible playlists that want to share my song on theirs. And then I took the most beautiful nap. It was beautiful.
Oh.
I woke up. It was like I went to sleep at 12, and then I woke up. It was 2:33. I said, "Man, doesn't get any better than this," you know.
Good. That's good. That's a solid 2 right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Missed out on that. Let me know when you do that next time so I can actually sleep.
In my house, like naps are not appreciated. So when I get one, because everybody wants to play, hang out. But when I get a nap, I'm like, Jesus, this is beautiful. Yes. It's almost better than a full night's sleep to me. I'm gonna just
interesting. Yeah, because you have the whole day ahead of you. You're like, it took 2 hours. Now I feel like I had a full night's sleep. Now I can conquer the day.
You know what I'm saying? Awesome. I had to get ready for this.
And I appreciate you being here today, man. Yeah, all of you identityers out there, we haven't really come up with a great name for you guys yet. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here with us. Raytheon took some time out to be with us. Thank you, Caleb, for being here. You're being as lovely as usual. We haven't shouted out a Hawaiian shirt in a while, but
this is new.
This one's cool. I like this one.
This is new.
It looks real nice.
Oh yeah, Raytheon. He has a Hawaiian shirt collection that's just amazing.
I have
34.
I have 2. Just 2.
I have 34.
That's awesome, man. You got a whole
Do you want
month.
some?
That's so cool, man. Because I have 2. There's an orange one and then a black and greenish one. And man, cool. You just feel like it's the weekend when you wear it, you know?
Right. That's what I was gonna say.
So good. It feels so good. Like I wear it every single day.
Always a weekend.
There you go.
But yeah, without further ado, guys, we're gonna just start. My favorite question is, how did the journey start for you? I mean, my favorite thing about what you started, when I usually ask people how they're doing, they don't have not such great things, but it's usually a very calm day for them throughout the day. But you just mentioned like 3-4 endings of goals or cycles that have come about, let alone your music. your art, and a bunch of other things. So what even got you into the idea of being an artist? What made you think that was something that was cool? And who was your favorite artist when you were younger?
Oh, man. Okay, so when I was younger, I wanted to be a magician or a firefighter. Not that I'm scared of flames, because I'm not. I just, when they come to your school and they do the whole put on the gear and you get to see how it is, not doing that. And when I was yeah, I was just like not doing that. Man. And then I don't know, it just kind of like fell apart. I was just like, yo, I don't like being hot. So on a hot day in an even hotter fire, I don't know if I can do it. I got the size. I got the size for it. I'm 6'2", but I just can't do it. Magician. There was a show that used to come on ABC Family where it was like Las Vegas like shows of magic, but beyond the stuff like illusions and stuff. And then I learned how to make a penny disappear. I learned how to make fireflies disappear. Like in my like right here, I could open it and it's gone. And again, nice. But then when I realized how long it takes to just learn one trick, I was just like, yo, not doing that. But art for me, it started when I was young. I would say that what got me into art was my brother. So we used to just get coloring books as parents do to just keep you busy or whatever on a rainy day or whatever. So I would just watch him color. He would color like Spider-Man and stuff. And I'm just like, yo, how did you do that? And he's just like, you just go for it. And like, right. But he would color them in like different colors. And I'm just like, wait, Spider-Man is not purple and green. And he's like, you can do whatever you want. And like, I was just like, yo, really? Like I can do whatever I want. And then I remember like, I just wanted to draw a lot. And I did what anybody that loves Dragon Ball Z does. Cause I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm a huge fan. I got the tattoo right here.
Oh, so, wow. You're even better than me.
Yeah, bro. I have a collection of 35 pieces. I have a Funko of Shinron. He's like that big if you can put it into size. Yeah. Got a lot, and still growing too. But
I was gonna ask, what age was this when you first started?
7, definitely.
And we spoke about your daughter, who's 7 now. Yeah, plant those seeds, right, man?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get her involved in like things that I do, like art wise. Like if I have an art show or a vendor art market kind of thing, I bring her along just so she can see that like, hey, there's other ways you can do things. Because right now she wants to be a brain surgeon, which the amount of school she's about to do, I'm beyond not excited. But it is what it is. But
I'll pay for it later.
I guess. But so pretty much like for me, yeah. So for me, it was just like at 7, I just wanted to draw a lot. And one thing I used to do was I found this like Dragon Ball Z website, and I would just draw all the characters. But what I would do, because like I learned more from like looking at it closely, probably because like I had horrible vision, and I would print it out like at least 40 pictures in one night, and I broke the printer, and my mom got really mad at me. She was like, what are you doing? Like, why did you break the printer? And I showed her, I was just like, this is what I did. And she was like, oh, it makes sense. Still don't like it. But, and then one day I was just like, could you, buy me a sketchbook? So I thought I wanted to be like an observation artist, which I don't know what that was going to do for me. So I would like run to the park, but not to go play, but to go draw the park. So beautiful. Yeah, so I would just sit there and I just realized, whoa, this is hard, because it was like perspective and like dimensions, like things closer, and it was a lot. But then I think what really got me into wanting to do like detailed art was definitely like Waldo books. Those really did a number for me. Like I was just like, just 2 pages of just it wasn't even about looking for him. Once I looked at the books, it was just like there is so many things happening in these pictures that that's the type of art that I want to get close to.
I love that type of stuff. Yeah,
like it's
really
busy.
Dig that type of stuff.
It's busy, it's detailed, it's organic, where it's just like you know, it's a beach, but there's like over 500,000 people at this beach, and you know, you're looking for Waldo, but are you really looking for Waldo when you get lost in, you know, the mess of that? So
Yeah.
it's a really cool concept that I thought, you know, like I wanted to add to my work as I got older, because, you know, I couldn't really do oil painting because like one of my good friends, he's an oil painter, and like the relationship between like paint and the brush, it's kind of hard for me because there's not enough control. And I know that sounds weird to say, but like I work better with like pins and pencils, and you know, using tools like rulers and protractors and, you know, light boards and stuff, because I understand the concept and I know how to apply it to give me the best result possible. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't try in the future, because like, but for a period of time, I would like to say it's like a black and white period for me. I just did like black and white art pieces, but then my wife told me to start introducing more color to my work, so I kind of went into like student mode and just started like understanding like, excuse me, how colors work, and learning about the primary colors. And I did a whole like 3 playing card series just only using the primary colors. And then like I started learning more about how to blend and how palettes work and stuff like that. So definitely just like, you know, I feel like I'm going to be a forever student when it comes to art, and I'm happy for that, because there's always so much you can learn, you know.
I mean, I think what's so interesting about this journey has been your freedom and your like adaptability to want to definitely start it. You know, I think back when I started watching people, because I've never really started visual arts. I've always been kind of afraid of it. I do little doodles. I'm also like an anime type of guy. I could do like little faces, and you know,
Yeah.
I studied that for a while. I studied chibi art for a while, and then I studied just how to do like a great anime face. So I can do that like nobody's business. I could draw my face and the hair and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I was gonna say was, as a child, I always saw the whole, not the parts of it, and that's something that you said you kind of spoke about as you were getting closer. So forgive me if I'm very allegorical, kind of metaphysical sometimes with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were zooming in and you were taking that time to focus in on each line, because each one of these lines then becomes something as a composite image to us.
Yeah.
As a child, all we see is the composite image. We see Spider-Man. We don't see the lines, the webbings, the face, the eye. Yeah. We don't see that, right? We see the entire being. And I think that's so interesting. As you kind of constructed yourself over time, you've been able to zoom in and hone in on like exactly what works for you. So yeah, when you're making that comment about like you use lighting board or you're not a freehand or whatever, you found out what works the best for you. I got a chance to, so ironic that we had you today and that we had art, because I actually thought you did, we're going to talk about your music as well, but I'm glad that you're talking about your visual arts. I got a chance to help out with a friend of mine who's curating an art show for tomorrow. And I mean, each one of these guys are at the top of their class, but they all do certain things totally different. One guy has like this icon that he just does, and he looks like a Sasquatch, and it's in all of his pieces. This other guy, like you said, does series. So he made a bunch of skateboards that were all comic book, and on the front of it were different comic book things and whatever. So I love your background, because your background has such diversity. No one ranges from anime to Where's Waldo to you know, Spider-Man and straight comic book thoughts. So all these inspirational things have come to create a much bigger you, or the composite of the superhero you that is Raytheon. Raytheon. I'm joking. Every time I say your name, I just feel like it's like an aura is gonna come. But I really I appreciate you kind of going through that process. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Sorry, you said you wanted to know my name. Like
yeah, we did want to come up with that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the comic book origin of, of this artist?
So the year was 1992. But for me, not for me, my dad. So my family is a bunch of R names. Like my brother's name is Randall. My sister's name is Ryan. I have a younger brother named Romani, and my dad's name is Raymond. So like he wanted to kind of keep that going, and like he had he either wanted to name me Richard after my mom's dad, or Ronicello. Where he got that name, I don't know.
Ronicello?
Ronicello, yeah.
Not cello.
But he was in the military, and like there's this shipping or weapons company named Raytheon. So he like looked into it, and it means God of the Sun or Ray's theory.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just like, called my mom, was like, got this name. She said, sounds good. So it worked out. So that's me.
Yeah, man. God of the Sun. Do you ever do any self-portraits or anything?
No, because that's something that I'm teaching myself is I'm learning more about drawing the human figure. Because like right now I'm doing a bunch of pieces of like the style that I do, but without posting it, because I'm learning more about like marketing and Instagram, and like the world doesn't need to see everything you do, because it's not a backfire on them, it's a backfire
very
on you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it just kind of like hits your spirit where you're like, I thought I was good. You know?
Yeah.
So I've just been like, you know, buying books on what to do, been talking with friends like on, you know, different things, you know, I can try. Because like one thing I learned with like drawing the human figure, if you're trying too hard to kind of like make it perfect, it never comes out that way. And one thing someone told me is like, there's no straight lines in drawing the human figure. And I was like, crap, that's all I kind of know sometimes. So it's been kind of like a very uphill battle. And by uphill, I'm like 6,000 feet underground.
It's over 9,000.
Yeah, indeed. So it's just kind of like, yo, it's very hard. Like a couple months ago, I went down to North Carolina to visit my good friend, and he works at a studio. It's like East Oaks Studios, where, you know, if you want to learn how to oil paint, drawing classes, observation, all that good stuff. And me and my wife went to go visit him, and at their basement, this is where they shoot their videos, and they do like live streams. So what we did is we had my wife, she doesn't do art. She sat in the chair, and the three, me, him, and his wife, who's an oil painter as well, we all tried to draw her, and their execution was great. I was even joking, like we're in class, like, hey, how did you color her nose? And then they're just like, you know, we're all in different seats, so like her nose looks completely different each way.
Right.
So it was quite an experience, because it was just like, yo, I was really out of character. But you know, I know for a fact, like in the world that I'm looking to go into with like tattooing, I learned that you know, portraits are very important. Like people really want those, but the problem is if you do it wrong, not only do they have to live with that forever, you got to live with that forever. So it's kind of like definitely doing my homework each and every day. Because like I learned that, you know, your eyes meet with the corners of your mouth, or your pupils meet with the corner of your mouth. Your ears have alignment. Your nose meets like the corner of your. It's a lot of stuff, but it all changes depending on the light and, you know, how the person's sitting and all that stuff. So yeah.
So true. That's very true. I think that you touched on some cool stuff there for sure, especially like highlighting that not only you learning art, you're also learning tattooing. So
yeah.
I want to highlight to all of the, you know, people that watch us and that's just listening to Raytheon, like never have an issue with trying something or being the fool at the beginning of a certain journey. I know a lot of people that are around our age right now, because you said 92, so I'm 93, but around our age or a little older that are just like, well, I've kind of lived a little bit of a life. I want to have a certain position in life. I need to be valued by the outside. And you're like, let's start from scratch. Like, you know, and not in a strong way, but you're willing to do that. And I think that's very healthy for people to pay attention to, for sure.
Yeah, because like when I got out of high school, I mean, my biggest dream was like, I wanted to be a pro skateboarder. That's what I really wanted to do. But then I got hurt. And then the more I got hurt, I was like, yo, I'm not built for this. You know, hitting the cement is the more I learned how to be better at skating, the cement is still unforgiving. You know,
it's
like
the same.
yeah, I'm like, yo, it hurts. And like, but then I became like a lover of like the spectating part, like just watching it. Like I follow a bunch of pro skateboarders just to see what they're doing. But then also like I love the boards. Like I've always wanted to like work for like a board company and like learn how that works. But like so far I've been learning that it's kind of like who you know, not what you can do, which is like I can be a stubborn person at times. So like hearing that, I was like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna be like the best. Like I'm gonna do what I got to do and like find my way. But it's just like, how are they gonna find you if they don't know you? You know what I'm saying? So, but then I also wanted to be an art teacher, and I knew like I could do that because one thing I've learned at a very young age was like, you know, there's not a lot of like male Black teachers in the school system, at least, you know, growing up. And the ones that were, they were really great. At least the ones I've had, like they knew their purpose. They didn't just treat it like a job. And I had this one teacher, his name was Herschel Mack, and he was such a positive influence on my life in so many ways. And I remember like, he did something really special for me for my birthday. He like brought a cake to school, and I was just like, yeah, that was dope. But he told me like, you know, if you want to get in this, like, just be yourself, but like you got to come correct because there is a bit of a game to this, you know, like don't get involved in the mess because that's how teachers. He's like, I'm not saying you're gonna go have sex with like a kid in school, like how these other teachers are getting called out, but he was just like, just do your job, be there for the kids, and understand it's about them at the end of the day. Like whether they understood the lesson, just help them get through the day, and maybe the lesson will hit. So like, you know, that's been kind of like my mission since I got into teaching, and it's been great. Like there's this one kid, one of my first years of teaching, he was going to track practice. He was a really cool kid. I think his name was Chris. And he was going to track practice in his uniform because it's the school wears a uniform, just a polo tee, black pants, you know, no tennis shoes. So when I found out that he was going to like track practice and using his school clothes to practice, I was like, what? So like I asked the coach, I said like, yo, if you can, without making it weird and without him knowing that I'm doing this, can you find out like his size so I can like get him some clothes? And he was just like, yeah, man. So he found out. A couple days later, I went to the store and I got him the clothes and stuff. And I could tell he was thankful from a distance. Like I looked out of the classroom when he gave it to him and stuff. And I think he kind of knew.
He knew it was you?
He knew it was me.
Like,
yeah. Because he kind of knew it was me, but I didn't like, you know, kind of like say like,
embarrass him.
Yeah, because I just feel like, you know, because I work in an area that's, you know, low poverty, you know, like people, there's one kid that, you know, his house got shot up and it wasn't even his house that was supposed to get hit. Right. It was his house and he got hit by a stray bullet. The man was in class. And, you know, these kids, they're unfazed by that stuff. They're more fazed by the fact that they got to do biology than, you know, not sure how things are going to be at home. Like they can they're conditioned to that. So yeah. It's stuff like that where it's just like, I know my purpose and I know what I'm supposed to do. But in recent years, I've realized that like, you know, the job, of course, the job is never going to end. The progression never ends. But like, I thought about myself personally because, you know, I've been doing art longer than I've been doing teaching. And then I've been involved in such events where people tell me like, hey, man, with the work you do, like you should get into tattooing. And I'm just like, And I kind of like, you know, really just was being stubborn and not listening to anybody about it. Even my brother and my dad and my mom at points, even though she didn't want me to get tattoos, they were like, you know, you should definitely consider it. Like you can make, you know, what everyone tells me, like you can make a lot of money, man.
Right. That's what I was going to say. I was like, what's pulling you towards it, you know, because all the other things you mentioned with such fervor and, you know, even the teaching thing, but I've kind of gone through that same problem of having like, first of all, we have to have multiple streams of income. Let's just be honest. And that's, you know, not necessarily a jack of all trades, but just in the world that we live in, the more diverse you are as a person, the more you can bring that to the next, you know, thing. So like as a teacher, you're teaching them something that you're very well acclimated with. But you're also a student to tattooing, so you can kind of relate to them on that level. So I do think that everything that you do does have a bigger effect. But I've been having that issue too, man, and I think this is like something to really talk about as far as our identity and how we identify ourselves. Do we go for something that will be lucrative enough to get us to our dreams, you know, aka the whole 9 to 5 versus the entrepreneur move, you know, what do you do, you know? So
yeah, so I think for me, I was just kind of like pushed away from the whole money thing because like I was on this like artistic quest of like I'm not doing anything for money. Like I want to do it for the fact that I love what I do. But then I realized things cost money. And then I realized that, you know, I want to travel and I want to do things and I want to go places. Like I went to Iceland, I think 5 years ago, and that was such an eye-opening trip. Like I was so amazed by like just the fact that I was so far away from home and I could, you know, I'm here with my friends and I'm having such a wonderful time. And then a couple years ago, I kind of experienced like what I could say is my first ever like anxiety or panic attack. And I took a trip to London by myself. And sometimes I like to leave my location of my home on. So like I'm standing in front of Buckingham Palace, but I click home, you know, to see how far away I am. I'm like 4,000 miles away from home. So like all my problems are that far away, you know?
Right.
And it was really cool to see that number and just to see like I don't have to deal with any of that till I get back. And the best part was just like I learned that there's more to life than just the 9 to 5, of course. And when it comes to tattooing, I kind of realized that, you know, here I am getting what I would like to consider better at what I do when it comes to art and having more of an understanding. One of my friends, her name is Stormy Gal Art on Instagram. Her real name is Rebecca. She's a dope artist. She started her own Patreon that's doing quite well, and she's been giving me advice on like, you know, how to have multiple streams of income. Like I learned more about Society 6 and like how you don't have to watch the site, like it's passive income. I have a kind of like a contract with a clothing company where I receive a royalty check at the end of the year, and it was pretty low last year because life was canceled. So hopefully it looks a little better than what it was at the end of last year. But
it will.
Yeah, because I know everyone's going full. I hope every festival is sold out. But for tattooing, it just kind of like, you know, I'm 29 now. Next year I'll be 30. And the two things I want to be doing is just kind of like getting out of the 9 to 5 life because like I'm not suited for it. I fall asleep in class sometimes teaching when it's real quiet. I don't like being a part of like the work, which comes with every job, the work gossip of like, can you believe so-and-so did this? I know, you know, and just like, you know, I want to come into
distracted,
work.
Yeah.
You know,
they're distracted from their goals by
yeah,
already being there, like you said. So like this extra level of distraction, you're like, okay, guys, like I can only give us so much attention or energy to things that really don't matter, you know?
Yeah, because like the only person that I listen to them complain about their job and like give my full attention to is my wife. Like,
yeah,
she works in optical as a technician, and like her day will be shorter than mine, but the complaints will be a little bit longer to where I'm just like, that is so crazy. But,
yeah, that is crazy. Right?
It's just like I can't give that energy to like everybody at work because it's like it doesn't really matter. Not that their, you know, opinions and me hearing them out like don't matter, but more or less like I just like don't care enough to like invest myself in like drama or, you know, to really commit to something that isn't giving anything back to me. And just the fact that like, you know, teachers are the most like underpaid like workers ever. Like here you are instilling faith, education, and like the ability to want to work harder into the next generation. And yet what we get for Teacher Appreciation Week is Krispy Kreme donuts, you know, like it's like, you know, and then I'm telling you, like, you're going to hear this from a lot of teachers, you know, like,
I want to hear more about this for sure, because I don't think we've had like a teacher that's opened up about this side of it for sure.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, like me and my coworkers, we kind of call ourselves like part-time babysitters because like, especially during like the pandemic, like, you know, I sat here and like I'm helping teach and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but like kids are still failing and I can't do anything from home. Like I got a 7-year-old at home. Like I got to make sure that she's learning and she has her difficulties too. Like one time she was supposed to be doing PE and she's playing, you know, fairy tale with the cats, you know? So I know both sides of it, but it's just like, there's certain things like when you know a kid's not trying and you're trying to do your best, but you're putting all this faith in them and they just don't, you know, want it. And for whatever reason, there's so many different reasons why they might not want to do anything. But, you know, again, I do love the job. Could I see myself still doing it and, you know, doing what I love on the side? Yeah. But I know at the end of the day where my passion lies is like, I know I would do really well in this because here I am with this instilled faith of like, you know, if you work hard, you read up, you do what you're supposed to do, and you take your time and really, you know, perfect the progression of your craft, it will be like teaching was just kind of like a placeholder, which hopefully it is. Because at the end of the month, I start my so to call, I can't really say what it's called, but like an apprenticeship. So it's like I'm looking at the paperwork right now, but I start that. So I'm just like getting myself mentally prepared for what's to come of that. Cause like teaching is a no-brainer. It's not as hard as everyone makes it out to be. If you're a people person, you're a kid person. Right. It just depends on what level you want to do. I can't do kindergarten. Can't do it. Can't do it. Not
over Zoom? Good luck.
No. Yeah, trust me. I got a first grader, bro. Like she would be like, yo, like if she could take a nap instead of like learning about this and that, she would. But she pushed through, and like because I'm a teacher, it definitely helps that I'm with her and stuff. So yeah, that's me with the teaching switching career path.
Nice. Got you. And yeah, that's relatively recent, so I can understand why it's, you know, being processed so much. So what about music, man? How did that all get started?
Music is definitely, it came later in life. It came when I was 18, because I've always been a lover of music, just listening. I remember like my mom would like put on like, you know, here in Virginia, there's this radio station called like 88.1 smooth jazz from yesterday and today kind of thing, you know, and
that was good. I like that.
Yeah, what's his rating on his radio voice, Caleb? That's a pretty good one, actually.
Thank you. There's this that station, and it's been playing since like, I don't know, before I was alive, and it's been blues and jazz, and like I feel like growing up in like, you know, an African American household, music is one of the biggest things that brings, you know, families together, music in general. But I just feel like at a family reunion, if you put on the right playlist, let it be the Isley Brothers, the Temptations, R. Kelly before we found out about R. Kelly, Chocolate Factory.
Before I let go, whatever that's
yeah, that's Chocolate Factory, I think. Or that's not. But literally, it's just jumping. It's great. Everybody's having a good time, and like I've always loved what music brought when it came to stuff like that, like emotion and just feel goodness. And then when I was older, towards the end of high school, I kind of like took an interest in like music, like wanting to learn how to play. Because like when I was younger, I did have a drum set, but I never learned how to officially play it because I just never did. Because I live in this, I'm from the hometown I'm from is from Norfolk, and we were in military housing. So my mom bought us a drum set, and I learned how to do like a simple beat, but I don't think we set up the kick drum pedal. So when I put in the VHS and he's like teaching me, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. So then I learned a little bit of bass in middle school. There was this, Walmart was giving out these things called like First Act, like gear. It was like guitars and acoustic guitars and bass. And like my mom got me one, and I tried to learn how to play bass. I would record myself on an MP3 player, and I would try to like hear myself, and I would say like some really cool message afterwards, like whatever, I did my best, fuck it, whoever hears it, whatever, you know, just trying to sound cool. Some dude just listening to like System of the Down and all that. But then high school is when I met this guy who taught me how to play guitar, and we were listening to stuff like Omarosa, the Mars Volta, my favorite band, Circus Survive, and just stuff like that. And I remember like going to his band practice, and his friend was dropping me off, and in the trunk was my book bag. I grabbed it and I was like, hey, that's a cool acoustic guitar. And he was like, thanks, you want it? I said no, and he gave it to me anyways. So I kind of learned how to play. And then I found some friends that wanted to like do music, and by 18 I was trying to like write my own music. And then I went out on a tiny little tour with this band that isn't a band anymore. They're called like Boy Be Golden, and they were going down to North Carolina. All I did was have like instrumental songs, and I just played them. And I remember I called my friend afterwards, like, bro, I did it. I played my first show. And he was so stoked. And then I started a band because I got an invitation to play on this like radio show. It was called like Your Music Show. So I had like some friends that I knew that heard of the music that I did. I asked them like, hey, could you guys like just be the backing band for this? And I kind of didn't want to go by my name, so I went by this name, Dear Adamus. And that took from like 2011 all the way to like 2019 when we like called it quits. We put out like 3 records publicly because we wrote a lot. And then when that kind of fell apart, I went into like kind of like a musical depression of like, what do I do now? Like, here I am. It's like a relationship. You sunk so much time and effort into like this. Like, we won an award. We did music videos. We played like the biggest venue in my hometown. You know, we were doing really cool things, but then it all fell apart for, you know, the best reasons possible. Just creative differences and just us getting older, people buying houses, me getting married, and just people wanting to do different things. So when I hit that musical depression, it was kind of like nothing really mattered. I didn't really pick up my guitar. I didn't want to even look at a program to record music. But then the pandemic hit, and I was just like, crap, you know, like here I am. I got all this free time, and you know, I don't have to go to work, which is awesome, which I know nobody really wants to. My wife was on vacation the whole time. She enjoyed it, really. And I asked her to buy me this thing called an iRig 2, and it's somewhere around here. I can't find it. This desk is very messy right now. And I just kind of like went at it, and I started to record on my iPad. And the first song I recorded is the song Sundancer. And I remember when I first started recording, what were we doing? We went and saw the sunrise. We just wanted to go see it because why not? You know, who really wants to get up at 5 a.m. any other time? But the pandemic was like, this is the time to do those things. So I remember coming back, and I was very, very tired, but I didn't want to go to sleep. I think I was like past the point of like, I want to sleep. And I said, can you go grab my acoustic? So I just started writing some lyrics, and then slowly but surely, I kind of had a body of work of songs. And then this song, I was just like, yo, I think I really got something. And I started sending it to my friends, and like, bro, is that you? I was like, yeah. They're like, wait, did you record the drums, the bass, the vocals, the synth, the this, that? And I was like, yeah, that's all me. And but the drums, they're not really me playing. It's really just like programmed and all that stuff. But everything else, I did all that. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, by the time that the end of last year happened, I had myself an entire album. So I was just like, wow, you know, like it's really all about like, if you can do it and you see the vision, just stick with it. And that's kind of like what I think my whole vision or my whole life is like, if you kind of just push yourself, you know, in the direction you want to go, but take your time with yourself, you'll create something worth, you know, showing. It might not be the best for everyone, but you'll definitely enjoy it. Cause like, I'm also trying to write a book as well. And that's like a whole different endeavor that I'm really, I'm really all out of like context with. Cause like all I did was just have this random idea at like 2 a.m. and then I just went with it. And then now it's like 75 pages and I'm just like, yo, that's the next thing I want to get into. Like, cause I've been like kind of writing more here and there, but it's just like, I'm very fueled off like passion. So it's like I'm not gonna get it done unless I'm feeling it. Just like the music, like if I'm not feeling it, it's not gonna come out. If I'm doing like art, if I'm not feeling it, I learn to like walk away from it, because like I feel that anxiety, I feel those emotions, I feel those things very heavily when like I'm really concentrating on like a concept or, excuse me, trying to make something come to life. So like if there's no life there, then you don't need to keep resuscitating it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that
oh, you're mute.
Oh, go ahead, Caleb.
No, you're okay. But do you feel, well, actually a couple questions real quick. One question is the book. So the book did that idea kind of start in the quarantine as well?
No, that came out in like 2018, 2017.
Okay.
I was at home and I was watching this show. It was called Queen of the South. And let me tell you something. That's a real good show.
It's a really good show.
I just checked it out by random, and then now I'm like, I love it. It's like that woman's rise to being like a drug lord and stuff, and then I just felt this weird like idea come over me, because you never know when, like, you know, you're gonna have your ideas. So like I've learned to like capture them as much as possible. Like I have here like 3 books of just ideas, you know.
Wow.
And there's so many in here that I have, whether they're music or art or book related or other stuff that I want to do. I just like sky's the limit when it comes to that. But yeah, the book came out a while ago, but it's been like, I can't really say, but I have something coming up that's going to cause me to not be working for a while. So I'm going to be concentrating on that, because it was either buy PlayStation 5 or work on the book, and I decided the book might be best. So
you can always get the PlayStation 5 on discount once the book's done.
Yeah, it's because like I'm getting back into gaming, because we have a Nintendo Switch and my wife just bought like the 2018 Super Mario game, where like you can play as like the different characters and stuff, and like
what, Mario Party?
No, it's like I saw that.
What was that?
he brought out the Switch.
Nice.
It's the one where like you can play as Toad, Toadette, Nabbit, or Luigi or Mario.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's just called like
and
Mario
they all have
Bros.
Different jump patterns and everything. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, but like we suck at the game, or at least I suck, because it's more of like she strategizes. I'm just more of like, yo, no, we gotta go, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so there's that's something that like I wanted to do, was the book, and it's kind of something that I'll be working on, you know, in the future, between everything that I'm trying to do, because I'm also like, you know, if I'm not busy, then nothing's happening. But at the same time, I do learn that like taking breaks are very important. Like my wife calls me Weekend Ray. Like the past 2 weekends, I didn't work on art, and she was just like, man, I just love spending time with you. And I'm like, you know, I love spending time with you because I'm not doing anything. Because I said to myself, like,
but you are,
you know, like, well, I'm not going to work on
quality
art.
Time is just as valuable.
Yeah. So like, you know, we went and got ramen. We got food some other time. We're watching these animes we never checked out before. We're playing Mario Kart and Mario, whatever that game's called. So, but yeah, but no, it's still back in it this weekend. I'm back into
man. You gotta have discipline, but it sounds like you have quite a bit of goals, man. You know, Caleb and I just sat here and just said, we've had literally a guess for each one of the things you want to accomplish. So put that in perspective. So
cool.
That shows that, you know, there's not necessarily a time for this all to happen, but it's good that you already know, you already have the map in your head. Some people have started along your path and have become different things since then. Like, you know, whether it be a life coach or whatever it may be after a certain way. So it's like once you start achieving certain goals and new ones come, and like you said, the progress is always there.
Right.
I was gonna make a anime joke too. For I don't know if we have any anime nerds in our midst, but you spoke about teachers and stuff, and I was like, nobody loves Aruka Sensei, man. If you're Naruto fan, like,
yes.
Where would Naruto be without Aruka, man? Nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere, man. Like, but you know, Kakashi gets more praise than needed
all the time.
I'm like, this man's Hokage, but for the whatever reason, they were just like, look, you did a lot of cool shit. We're gonna get. Can you just do this? Tsunade is kind of like wrapped up, and like you're kind of the best candidate. Okay,
you're the next best guy. Exactly. Yeah, man.
I'm like Donzo's trying to come back to life to be like, I'll take the spot. But no.
For sure. But yeah, Caleb, did you have a question?
No, you're totally good. No, I think something that I kind of wanted to talk about briefly is, I used as many of us did, and I know Tarik and I did as well, because we created the podcast and everything. But I think one of the biggest things during the quarantine, especially and throughout this pandemic, is finding your voice, finding the different things that you can do, and really just allowing yourself to go out there and do different things, right? And so I think it's kind of interesting that you mentioned, hey, you have all these goals, you want to do different things with art, you have, this exciting thing upcoming soon, you had your book and everything, you have so many other ideas along with your music. And I feel the same way. I kind of got back into music a little bit and released some stuff. I am actually working on a book as we speak. It's always been something that I've always wanted to do. And so that's something that I'm currently working on as we speak. And I know Tarik has had different things, and Tarik and I both, we do a lot of poetry and everything. And so that's been something that we kind of do. And so it's just really, it's kind of great for us, I know, to know that there are others that have also felt this way throughout the pandemic or even before. And now, as we hopefully, fingers crossed, near towards the end, is the fact that, we do have these other goals, but we can achieve them, we can reach them. It's not absurd for us to have these sights ahead of us, and I think that's really awesome. And as you hopefully start your apprenticeship here soon and becoming a tattoo artist, I know that we were talking before the show, you said it's been a really interesting kind of journey getting there, and I can't even imagine what it must be like for you. And as someone who loves tattoos, and as someone who is big into kind of learning how artists kind of get their start and everything, what has kind of been going through your head as you get ready to start this new journey in your life? And what was kind of this, not only the transition from being an educator, but now hopefully into a tattoo artist, but what's kind of been going on through your mind?
A lot, honestly, because like the offer was given, I want to say it was cold outside. I remember that. Oh, it was like November. So I kind of like, so before any of this, like me and my wife, we work, as any marriage, hopefully we work as a team, like I don't make a move without letting her know what I do, unless it's like, I don't know, I'm going to cook dinner. She just kind of rolls with it sometimes. But I had to get her kind of on the side, because like, as anybody knows about apprenticeships, you don't really make like money. And, you're kind of like, the shops kind of like server, waiter, you do whatever they say, you just kind of like do a bunch of busy work. And I kind of didn't really like that, because I'm not that I'm not good with authority, but if you're telling me to go do something that you can fully do, like, come on, like, I just feel like when it comes to certain like rules and ethics, when it comes to tattooing, like it might be a bit outdated. Like, I feel like if you want someone to stay, don't treat him like shit, treat him with respect. And like, that's something that, we've been, trying to do, definitely in like my house right now with like our child. We've been, teaching her more, because like as older kids get, the more spicy they get, the more, they rude they can be. So like, we try to, if you don't like something, we can talk about it, kind of thing. And I feel like that concept works with like tattooing. So that was one of the things, was just trying to make sure that she's on board with what I'm doing. And the biggest thing is like, she sees that, I work hard, I'm passionate, and I'm talented. I don't really like to use the word talented sometimes, just because like it's kind of like a fake term. Like, not everyone's born with talent. You're more better off than certain people. Some people just get certain concepts easier than others. Like, I suck at math, but ask my brother. That man will calculate a bunch of stuff. But it was, and then the financial aspect of like making sure that I am financially prepared to like go into this world and know that, I could possibly suck, but I got to make sure that I'm okay and that my family's okay. So I've just been kind of like preparing myself for that, with, doing the homework and making sure that I know all the dumb questions, but am confident enough to just ask the dumb questions of like, how does this work and what does it do? Maybe I know the answer, but I probably don't, because I like learning things hands-on. Like I didn't learn how to like write music or, learn how to play the guitar by a book or a YouTube video. I just picked it up and like, someone taught me. I learned a couple chords and called it a day. But I think what's been going through my mind the most is just making sure that I'm mentally prepared for whatever's asked of me and what I'm capable of doing and what I'm not, and trusting myself. Because with the pandemic, I had a lot of free time to not trust myself and to figure things out musically, artistically, and just emotionally and within myself. So like when the ball drops, I got to make sure that I'm ready to catch it, kind of thing, and make sure that I'm prepared for whatever's going on in this world, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot for anybody involved. I've learned that there's hardships towards this career where it's like there might not be an equal opportunity, which, being a person of color, I've noticed a lot more that, a lot of tattoo artists that I'm looking towards and learning from happen to be some that are, Black or, Filipino and stuff, just because they're making the time to talk to me and they're giving me the advice that I need. And the owner, he is of Asian descent, and he just tells me, like he even had the same struggles. So he's like, it's not just, for Black people, it's just in this certain area or certain things going on, like you find yourself like dealing with certain problems. And that's not to say like every shop that's white is not giving me a chance. It's just more of like, you see something and you notice it. And I've noticed this all my life because, growing up being Black, you know that you're not going to be treated as fair as certain people. So when it's in the air, you kind of notice it, especially when you work hard with your art. Like, I'm not saying I walked in there like, hey, my work's in the Museum of Contemporary Art. I've done this and done that. Like I'm the biggest thing in town. But it's just like, really, I'm just a student and I want to learn the craft, and I just want to be as good as you, or, be able to do this in the longevity that I can take care of my family and myself. And that's really what I want out of it. So yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it, but it's like, if you're willing to do the work, you're willing to learn how to mentally prepare yourself and be a student of the craft and really take your time. Like I have a whiteboard here that says pace yourself, because with everything that I'm trying to do, if I don't pace myself, it all falls apart.
So true. Yeah, man. That's said in so many different ways, because that's kind of so real. And I think a lot of times when you are that artist that grew up like that, and I love comic books, I love the hero's journey, I love all these things, and I became very idealistic in a lot of different aspects. By like what you said, like you got to have this foundation first before you start jumping out. So a lot of the stuff I did wasn't for money grabs and everything. I wanted to develop character and experience and who I was. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But then now, like you said, as we're pushing into this next aspect of our lives, whether it be 30 or just another phase of our journey, we found a way to like, okay, let's start to shift this for it to actually be disciplined and make sense. So that was all over the place. Like you said, what do you love about skateboarding? It's radical, it's out there, it's cool. You're doing something no one else is doing. That's what I was into, like whether it was like going to different grunge bands in the city or just like, just doing stuff and learning about myself through these, exterior communities and forces. And now, like you said, on top of the pandemic, it's kind of put that microscope or that magnifying glass on like, what am I really doing with my time? I usually was a part of the whole. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like, do you look at Spider-Man as a whole, or is each one of its lines? Yeah. And a lot of my issue with art has been that patience of learning how to take each step before you can make the entire composite. Yeah. So I love that you're doing so many different things. I love that you're all over the place, because it puts you in so many different avenues. Like, who knows, A, which one will pop, and B, which one will be synergistic to the other one, you know? So
yeah, I feel like they all collectively kind of go together, but they just make me as a whole. And definitely just pacing yourself in all this, because like again, I love the hero's journey, especially like, you know, superheroes that, you know, they started as absolutely nothing, and then also like I like not being the like in the spotlight too much. Like I want to make sure like it's not going to my head, because my wife brings me down to like reality, because not to say like I have a big head or anything, like, you know, when things are going well, and it can happen, but then my wife tells me like, your feet still stink when you take your socks off, you snore loud when you had a long day, and a bunch of other stuff. Like she humbles me, because it's just kind of like, you know, when things are going well, like I did this coloring book for I did it back in March, and they sold out within between March 14th to April 14th. I was completely sold out of all 30 books. And, you know, she's just like, that's great. Now, like, what are you going to do with the money you made? What are you going to do with the future? Like, how are you going to make more from this experience and stuff? So it's kind of like, whether things are good, she's also kind of like, what's the point? You know, sometimes I get mad because I'll be so happy. Like I have a music video that I'm working on with my director, and we shot it, and like she's just kind of like, so what's the point of the music video? So explaining the music industry and the campaigning and like getting people to check out your music and stuff. Like she's like, but what's the point of you putting out music? And I'm just like, chill, I just want to put out music. She's like, but like, what's the point in putting all this money into stuff if you're not going to put your best foot forward? Like, there's got to be an end goal for this for you.
Very smart woman.
Yeah, she's like, you can't just buy like an $800 guitar and like just let it collect dust. Like, are you going to play shows and stuff, you know? So like, she brings me back to reality when the lights are flashing and people are asking questions and stuff. So yeah.
No, I think that last lesson was great. You know, we're, you know, Caleb, like this is the conversation we have when we started our business. You know, like sometimes the lofty ideas are still there and we keep them on the back burner, but we got to make sure whatever the actual machine is working. You know, if the machine's not working, then you'll never, you know, if the car has no gas in it, you're never going to get anywhere. It could be a beautiful Tesla. Well, I guess you don't need gas for Tesla, but
but I get what you mean.
Bad analogy, but you know, basically there's a situation where you're like, we don't have any fuel, man. We got no grease, as they call it. We got no capital. We got nothing to work with. And you know, like you said, it's a lot of it does come from, you know, the fact that we do have ethnic backgrounds, probably middle class, maybe lower middle class. Who cares where it's coming from? No real pointing fingers there, because we're not aristocracy. But the main thing is like, we have been bred with a mentality of like, you know, poverty and a mindset. So there is some healthy aspects that I'm sure that you bring to her as well. You know, some people are sometimes too grounded and they don't want to dream at all. So I wanted to just reach out to all of our audience that's paying attention and listening to us for an hour as well, that has just kind of like, just don't be afraid to try something, but also don't go ahead of yourself. Take your time, take your pace, and learn that teaching is just as well as learning. They take patience, they take time, they take care. And that's kind of like what I've gotten from this episode for sure.
Yeah, I'm on both sides of those coins. I'm on those both sides of those coins. I'm on the teaching and learning side.
Yeah, that's what I loved about this episode. You kind of were talking about your journey. I mean, my favorite parts are definitely community. I always bring up community, but your community is your family. And that's super awesome, you know?
And I'm glad you said that, because like I've learned more that if I find more like-minded people like myself, the more I feel like, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like I've been trying to find more dads and husbands that I can like hang out with.
Yeah,
I've been trying to find more. I've been trying to find more like art people and music people that I'm not used to talking to, just so like, you know, I can get a perspective like the climate elsewhere or like what's going on with them. Because one thing I hate social media. I hate like, you know, marketing my art and stuff. I'm just like, I'm very like simplistic with that. Like if you want it, you want it. But with my wife, sometimes she wants to be the manager of that. She's just like, no, you didn't make that just for, if they want it, they'll get it. You can't just be like, hey, I have prints. Cool. You have to kind of like, you know, promote yourself. You didn't just, again, you didn't buy the $800 guitar just for it to collect dust. You didn't make these prints for them to collect dust just because you said, hey, if you want it, you didn't. Like, I've spent $500 on prints one time, and they sold out great, but it's like, if I didn't like promote it, it's just kind of like just a piece of paper,
Right, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that? And how would you say, like, as far as like valuing people's art, or because I want to make it a marketing thing, because I think there's a bit of an aversion towards that for whatever reason, why people have issues with social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Caleb just started on social media, so you guys can sit and talk all day.
Welcome.
Yeah, he just started one recently, and it was mostly because he had an intention, and it was a lot to do with the podcast and a lot of other stuff. Since then, he's kind of growing his own personality on Instagram as well and other places. But I think that when I first started, I was behind as well. I never had a MySpace. I never had.
I did.
I didn't have a BlackBerry, so I wasn't BBMing anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. So yeah, I was doing a couple of those things. But then, yeah, Facebook was my first social.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always big on family. So I was like, all right, you guys got me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram came about, and I realized, me being in the artistic world, that's where all the artists were.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was able to talk to them and find other artists. And they were all doing similar things. Like you said, this marketing thing. And I stayed away from it for a while. I loved being the obscure artist. That was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, I was like, well, I've done my job. No one can see me.
Yeah. Like,
what
was it? Someone asked me on Instagram, like, is Silent Signals like your Banksy? Like, is that your name? I was like, no, I just thought it sounded cool. That's it. I didn't really like give it too much thought and stuff. I just wanted it to be like a simple tag. Someone could like check me out. But when it comes to like marketing and stuff, like, because art, what does that dude say? Andy Warhol, art should never be sold or whatever it is. But like, hey, you're one to talk when, like, you did so well. Like, there's some story.
Commercial art of all things. It wasn't even abstract. It was like, yeah, but go ahead.
What was it? He, like, I forgot where I read it, or somebody told me where, he signed like a trash can or some trash and like left it in the museum or something, and the custodian like took it and sold it, and it made like a bunch of money or something. So it's just like the value of art is only what people put it as, but like, your worth, your talent, I know I said the word again, but your worth, and what like you're willing to say like is an honest day's worth of work for you. But at the same time, like when it comes to marketing and stuff, that part is what gets me. Cause like when I first got on Instagram, I would just post pictures of trees and, put the cool little filter on it and call it a day. But then, like, I started seeing people like, hey, I'm selling my prints. And I'm just like, what? Like, that's a thing. And the more I got, like, better with my art, the more I kind of realized, like, okay, there's a bigger market here. There's people that know about my art. Like, I've shipped off prints to Ireland, to Paris. I got one that I was supposed to send out to Canada, but then, like, she, like, backed out because life. But like, to know that like, yo, I can ship out anywhere. And I was making the dumb mistake of shipping things out for free like across the the world, and I was just like, yo, let me chill. But it became like, I learned the game, and I learned to tolerate it, versus like, oh man, now I gotta go like into marketing mode for my artwork. It's just kind of like, if I can do it, I will. And like, my wife's taught me about Reddit. And that's more of just like, I just stay away from that too much, because like it's very particular. Like, there's the Reddits that I see, the subreddits I see, it's like, you post your art, but you got to post it this certain way with this certain title, or else it gets like, deleted. Or if you try to post like your website or your Instagram tag, they'll delete it. I'm just like, yo, what do you want from me? Like, I don't know. I just do my best, and when I don't understand it, I just talk to her, and she like fills in the blanks. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I said that works. That's what I said.
Yeah,
it definitely works. I was laughing, but that's hilarious, because we're not strong in everything. That's something I was kind of speaking to Caleb about as well. Like, a lot of my plans didn't really come to sight until Caleb kind of came into the picture as well. Yeah, he's like a phenomenal organizer. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm an ideas all day. He's actually made me a lot more organized over time. But yeah, you find that synergy with someone, man. You know, whether it's a business partner, your actual partner, whatever it is, it gets to a point where you zone in, you click in, you find your niche. Because I don't know how many people are selling art on Reddit. Only that specific group of people are selling on Reddit. I know someone right now to this day who goes into Washington Square Park and sells his art right on the street and makes 200 a day, probably more than that.
That's
you know what I mean? But he also was in galleries and he's also doing other stuff like that because obviously he didn't want to stay there. But that's his bread and butter. He still does that. He has online stores, you know, everything that is all the, like you said, the marketing stuff. But his bread and butter is still talking to someone right in their face and giving them art. So who's to say what works? Like you said, Banksy doesn't want to talk to anybody. I also think it's multiple people, like Shakespeare. That's a whole other thing. But that's a whole other thing. But you know, he makes sure that this is how people get to his art. Or about the weirdo guy, because I still don't know the story, but this has been very funny. Because I'm gonna just go through my art. I'm a huge art head, so I know like all art news and stuff. But the guy that sold an invisible sculpture.
I heard about that. And like I even had like
something crazy like that.
I had a friend like message me. He was like, "Bro, get on that." I was just like,
"How?"
I said, "I mean, I guess I could just sell them like, oh, here's my sketchbook that has never been opened, but there's so many. I'm just doing this, you know, just putting it's all there."
Osmosis Jones out this.
I wrote the newest like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
it's all of them. Series. It's everyone put together.
Right here. It's all of
Marvel X.
You guys want this? I'm sorry. This is way more than Jeff Bezos.
It's a discount. It's only $1 million. Yeah. I think that's super funny. But like you said, it's what people value it as. And honestly, I think it's him. I think he evaluated his art as certain things. So part of the artist's journey is going, like you said, from zero to nothing. Where like when you were drawing those paintings, it was just like, or whatever figures. It's just your mom putting it on her refrigerator, you know, or it's your 7-year-old daughter just like, I want to be a brain surgeon. You're like, all right, that's going on the board. She may never be that, but you encouraged her and supported her to do one of the wildest things that she could think of at that moment. And that's what you're encouraging. You're encouraging that. She may never want to be a brain surgeon. She's probably going to be like, this is horrible. I don't even want to look at brains. Why did I say this, Dad? What are we doing? You know, look, you're not a firefighter, or are you?
Yeah.
No.
I am when the house gets like hot and there's a fire, but yeah. And I'm a magician when it comes to like, what is it? Packing lunches. I disappear. Because I hate packing lunches, man. I hate it. Because she's so like, you know, you never know, but you put it in there. She's like, that's not what I wanted, but that's not what you didn't say you wanted that. You know, like it's typical kid stuff. You gotta love it, you know. But yeah, you know, like being a parent and like having her involved, because I just feel like when I was a kid, you know, my dad wasn't too much around. He was a phone call away, but that was only so much. So like, you know, he would call and, you know, he would tell me about things like he grew up loving comic books and stuff, and his favorite person was the Incredible Hulk. And the more I found out about Marvel was really cool. And I almost had like an internship at Marvel up in New York. In high school, I didn't take it because like it was just a very complicated situation.
Scary.
Yeah, because it was just like, you know, I would be there for like 3 weeks, but I was like 3 weeks staying up in New York, not for me. Like, I don't know, I love New York, but I couldn't live there. It's I'm not good with like giant cities. I like to be able to go away. I like to go in, do what I got to do, and head back out.
I'm the same way. I've been here my whole life, so it's funny to me.
Yeah. But I know, like, my dad tells me, he's like, just come up here and, like, you could sell your art and you could do really well. So
that's what I'm saying. That guy sells art right on the street.
Like,
he's been doing it since the pandemic. Yeah.
And I want to come up there. I want to come up there because I want to reach out for different galleries, because I kind of turned away the idea of doing, like, a solo show because of, like, life and stuff. But now that the world's getting better, I'm just like, oh, crap, this might still be a thing. I might still be able to do this. So just been kind of thinking about it and stuff. But yeah, back to like the child thing. Yeah, I try to introduce her to like the different and the not so normal. Like, you don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be this. Like, even when I told her like I'm switching careers, she kind of was like, why? And I was just like, because this doesn't make me happy, and this is something that I want to try. And she was just like, okay. Just, not in one ear and out the other, but she gets the concept and she sees that I work and stuff and she asks questions, and she's a very considerate kid when she wants to be. Like one time I took her to the beach and I was like, hey, we got to get going. She's like, okay, that's right. We have to go so you can go work on your art. I said, sweetheart, no, we have to go pick up your mom. But I do appreciate it. I appreciate her knowing, that that's important to me and I have to make time for it.
Right.
So it's just stuff like that, like teaching your kids that, you have passions, and then teaching your kids that they can have passions to be whatever they want them to be. You just gotta discipline yourself to want to make that passion to like a reality.
That's it. Who goes to that one?
That's so true.
Caleb, did you have some other questions too? Did you go through your list?
I think most
we're at the hour mark, right?
Yeah, that's why I stopped talking. I looked at the time. I said, "Oh crap," because I could talk forever.
We gotta have you back on.
Honestly, we could too. Yeah, definitely. We can definitely have you back on it. And honestly, though, I would like to say a shameless plug for Raytheon. Check out his stuff. Like, check out his art, and I can share a screen real quick. If you are watching the stream right now, go ahead and we'll share the screen right now, and you can check it out. But at the same time, if you are not and you are listening, check out @SilentSignals on Instagram. Some amazing stuff right there. And of course, check out the music @Foreign Color. Now, color is spelled COLOURVA right there. Foreign Color VA, both on Instagram. Check that out. But can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Sweet. You can check out the different on Instagram. Here is different artwork. This is one of my favorites. This Summer Rose. Look how beautiful this is.
Cool. Beautiful. I have that.
Oh, definitely tattooey for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I got that right here.
Nice. If you guys need it.
So cool. You still have another print?
Only got
that's
one.
Pretty cool.
Only have one left, actually.
Well, I have to get on it then. That's really cool. There's just some amazing stuff here. I mean, just look at this stuff, right? It's incredible. It just shows the talent that you really do have. So thank you for being, allowing to come on the show and allowing us to showcase your artwork a little bit and everything. But
thank you.
Beautiful stuff. But and then of course check out the music, of course, at Foreign Color VA. Check out Raytheon's music. And I told him before the show that I was hooked on the tune, the track Sundancer. And I'd love to know, I'm actually really glad that I now know kind of the meaning behind it, or, how it started and everything with the sunrise. Because it feels like this slow sunrise almost, like the creation, like the sun is that's how, when listening to it, it's kind of how it feels. It's like, okay, something is starting out, like it's budding, and slowly yet surely you kind of get like the overall sense of like, oh, the sun's fully out, and that's kind of how I feel when listening to that song. I may be completely wrong, but
I'm not gonna say it, but yes, but we'll take that. We'll take that as the answer. I really like that, but that's what the song's about, is a little bit more closer to home. I wrote it just about my wife. She like we were talking about, she's a very grounded person. She's a very, I see it for what it is. I need to know exactly why. I might just think that's just a lady thing, but it was just one day during the pandemic, she just kind of hit a moment of like, what's the point of everything? What's the point of like work? What's the point of, doing this? Why are we doing any of this stuff? And, she just really wasn't sure. Not that she was like having anxiety or anything. She just was having like a rough day. Like, first, the food she wanted, they weren't open. Then we went to a different place. Her food was burnt. We went to the beach. I told her to grab a jacket. She didn't. So she was cold because of the cold front. And so she just really wasn't having the best day. And then it just kind of happened, snowballed from there. And to me, the song is just more about like, no matter what you feel and what's going on with you in life, we're all dancing around the sun, trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do with ourselves. And, me, the song's just like, no matter what you do, like I'm always going to be here to help you, figure that out, whatever that thing is. So yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, she hates it.
She hates the song, or she hates the meaning?
She just does one of these. She's just like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, she loves the song. She loves, like, when I work on music, sometimes she's like laying in bed, and like I like having her nearby because she's like my worst critic. So I'd rather have someone, tell me if something's trash, or not to say like she's like this musical prodigy. She's my producer, but it's just nice to have someone, to bounce your ideas off, to be like, hey, what do you think of this riff? And she's just like, you've done that before. And I'm just like, I appreciate that. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
So we're at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark. I was told about that.
Caleb's going to take us out. I thought we were going to play some music, but it might be a little late. So you guys definitely check out Color.
Yep.
Foreign Color.
Yeah. Sorry, sorry, my signal went a little bit in and out, so I wasn't able to fill in right there. But no, yeah, thank you as always for everyone for listening and watching the Identity Podcast right here, presented to you by Find Your ID NYC. It's been an honor to be able to have Raytheon on the show. I've really enjoyed hearing all that you have to say, but discovering your identity, hearing your journey and everything. And I must say, we wish you the best. We really do. We hope that this apprenticeship goes well, and definitely let me know when things go well, and I'll come out and get a tattoo.
And I would love to come up to New York, definitely.
For sure, that's where I am. So the summer should be fun. I think Find Your ID is going to be doing some events as well. My buddy's definitely doing some art shows too. So, even if you want to just submit or show him some stuff, because I think that's another way to do it too, not to go into a whole nother tangent before we go, but remote work has been a very big thing. Being able to send in your prints or sending into your art, and you may still be home. If you don't want to do the big city, just have someone else curate it for you. They take a little small percentage or whatever as they bump it up the price, because they're in a city, so they're going to bump it up anyway. So little notes like that. But
I will definitely. I'm taking that note. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again thank you, Raytheon, for coming onto the show. We're so grateful to have had you on, and it's been really great to discover your identity, and we hope to have you back on again.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to listen to the music. I missed out on that, but you are a man of many talents. You are the pantheon of Raytheon.
Wow! If you could title the episode that would be sick.
That'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool. Well, thank you as always for listening and watching the Identity Podcast. Once again, presented to you by Find Your ID NYC. This is the Identity Podcast. I'm Caleb, one of your co-hosts, along with my fellow and lovely co-host, Tarik. It's been just a wonderful, wonderful treat to have Raytheon on the show and to be able to talk about art and music, because this is something that not only that Raytheon loves, but also what Tarik and I love too. We're all about this stuff too. And so it's really great to kind of hit home for all three of us, I think, on this show, but also be able to talk about the show and our basis of the show and everything. And so that's really great. So of course, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at the Identity Podcast, including Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. Of course, go ahead and check out the Identity Podcast on all streaming platforms and listen to the show, or watch the show, I should say, every single Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time via YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, all at the Identity Podcast. And of course, if you love the Identity Podcast and want to sponsor us, well, guess what? You can. All you have to do is email us at press@findyouridnyc.com, and we'll get back to you with more details. Of course, subscribe to the Identity Podcast Patreon page. That link is in the chat right now, and we'll put that link back up here in just a second as I get to it. You can check out the Identity Podcast Patreon. Subscribe to that. Different tiers, cool exclusive content right there presented to you by the Identity Podcast. Of course, the Discord. Check out the Discord and join the Discord as we get to have lots of fun chats. Yeah, we get to just have some fun times. I think we're going to start maybe like a game thing. Maybe we'll do that once a month or something. Could be really cool. Some voice chats in there too. So lots of fun there. So check that out. And of course, check out our link tree as well, which you can find all of the essentials for the Identity Podcast and that one link in the bios of all of our social media pages. Of course, this has been the Identity Podcast. Don't forget to check out next week's show, featuring Demetria Burby, an amazing spirit healer, just an incredible woman. So we're very excited to have her on the show. June 16th, next week's show. It's going to be a great one, titled Inner Light. That'll be fun. Of course, you've been watching the Identity Podcast, presented to you by Find Your ID NYC Artistic Exploration featuring Raytheon Dunn. I'm Caleb, along with my co-host Tarik, Raytheon. Everyone, stay groovy. Peace out. We'll catch you next week.
Ooh.